The conference room smelled like expensive cologne and fear. My fear. Jin Wu's hand was on my thigh under the table, bold, possessive, completely reckless, and across from us sat our CEO, droning on about quarterly projections. His thumb traced circles against the fabric of my slacks, small, maddening circles that made my breath catch in my throat. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't look at him. If anyone noticed, if anyone saw, we were finished, both of us, my career, his reputation, everything we'd worked for, gone in a single careless moment. But Jin Wu didn't move his hand. He never did. "Marcus, do you have those numbers?" The CEO's voice cut through my panic. I forced my eyes up, forced my voice steady. "Yes, sir. The client retention rate increased by—" Jin Wu's fingers tightened, just slightly, just enough. My words stumbled. "By 18% this quarter." The CEO nodded, satisfied, and moved on to the next agenda item. Jin Wu leaned closer, his shoulder brushing mine. To anyone else, it looked like he was checking my laptop screen. Professional, collegial, innocent. His lips barely moved. "You're shaking." "I am. My heart is hammering so hard I'm certain everyone can hear it." "Stop," I whispered back. "No." That single word sent heat coursing through my body. Not defiance, not playfulness, just certainty. The kind of certainty that had defined everything between us from the very beginning. The meeting ended 17 minutes later. 17 minutes of torture. 17 minutes of Jin Wu's hand on my leg and my mind screaming at me to pull away, to be smart, to be careful. I didn't pull away. I never did. 6 months earlier, I didn't believe in love at first sight. I was 28, black, American, and pragmatic. I'd moved to Seoul for work, a junior analyst position at a global marketing firm that paid well and looked impressive on a resume. Love wasn't on my radar. Survival was. Figuring out the subway system, ordering food without humiliating myself, navigating a corporate culture that was ruthlessly polite and utterly exhausting. I'd been at the company for 2 weeks when I first saw him. Jin Wu Park, senior strategist, 30 years old, Korean, straight, or so everyone said. He walked into the morning briefing late, and the entire room shifted. Not obviously, but I felt it. The way people sat up a little straighter, the way conversations paused for half a second before resuming. He had that kind of presence, quiet, controlled, magnetic. He was tall for a Korean man, lean but broad-shouldered, with sharp features softened only slightly by the way his dark hair fell across his forehead. He wore his suit like armor, expensive, perfectly tailored, designed to keep the world at a distance. He took the empty seat directly across from me. And then he looked up. Our eyes met. Everything stopped. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean my brain actually short-circuited. Time hiccuped. The fluorescent light seemed too bright. The air in the room felt thick. His gaze held mine for 3 seconds, maybe 4, an eternity in a professional setting. Then he looked away, pulled out his tablet, and the meeting continued like nothing had happened. But something had happened. I felt it in the pit of my stomach, in the way my hands trembled slightly as I tried to take notes, in the way I couldn't stop glancing across the table, hoping, dreading that he'd look at me again. He didn't. Not during the meeting. But afterwards, as everyone filed out, he stopped beside my chair. "Marcus, right?" His English was perfect, barely accented. I nodded. My throat had gone dry. "Welcome to the team." He extended his hand. I shook it. His grip was firm, warm, and lasted a fraction of a second too long. "Thank you," I managed. He smiled, small, polite, utterly unreadable. Then he left. I sat there for a full minute after everyone was gone,
staring at my hand like it had betrayed me. I told myself it didn't mean anything. He was being friendly, professional, welcoming the new hire, that's all. But over the next 2 weeks, I started noticing things. The way Jin Wu seemed to be in the break room when I was getting coffee. The way he'd linger near my desk after team meetings, asking questions about my transition to Seoul, my impressions of the company, my thoughts on projects that had nothing to do with my department. The way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't paying attention. I tried to ignore it, I really did. Because Jin Wu was straight. Everyone said so. He'd been engaged once, years ago. The relationship ended badly, but it was to a woman. He dated women, occasionally, discreetly, never seriously. And even if he wasn't straight, even if there was something in those stolen glances and lingering conversations, it didn't matter. I was black, he was Korean. We worked for a conservative company in a country where same-sex relationships were still largely invisible, still stigmatized, still dangerous. There was no version of this that ended well. So I kept my distance, smiled politely when he spoke to me, kept our interactions brief and professional. It worked, exactly for 3 weeks. The collision happened on a Friday night. Most of the office had cleared out by 7. I was still at my desk finishing a presentation for Monday when my computer froze, completely. Blue screen of death, unsaved work, the whole disaster. I swore under my breath, loudly, and slammed my hand against the desk. Problem? I jumped. Jin Wu was standing 3 feet away, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, looking annoyingly calm. My computer just ate 6 hours of work, I said. He walked over without asking, leaned down beside my chair and examined the screen. He smelled of coffee and something woodsy, cedar maybe. It was distracting. Did you save it to the cloud? No. I'm an idiot, I know. You're not an idiot. He straightened, pulled out his phone and made a call, in Korean, fast and efficient. 2 minutes later, he hung up. IT will be here in 10 minutes. They'll recover it.
Thank you, I exhaled, some of the panic easing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Stop apologizing. His tone was gentle but firm. You've been working 12-hour days since you started. You're allowed to be frustrated. I blinked. How did you? I noticed things. The air between us shifted. He was standing too close, not inappropriately, just close enough that I could see the faint shadow of stubble along his jaw, the way his tie was slightly loosened, the intensity in his dark eyes. Jin Wu, do you want to get dinner? The question hung in the air like a live wire. Dinner? I repeated stupidly. Yes, food. There's a place 2 blocks away. Good bibimbap. Quiet. It wasn't a date. It couldn't be a date. He was asking a coworker to grab food after work. Normal. Innocent. Except it didn't feel innocent. I don't know if that's a good idea, I said carefully. His expression didn't change. Why not? Because I can't trust myself around you. Because every time you look at me, I forget how to think. Because this, whatever this is, feels dangerous. People might talk, I said instead. People always talk. He picked up his jacket, slung it over his shoulder. Dinner, yes or no? I should have said no. I said yes. The restaurant was small, tucked down a side street, the kind of place locals went to avoid tourists. Jin Wu ordered for both of us in rapid Korean, and the ajumma behind the counter smiled at him with the warmth reserved for regulars. We sat in a corner booth, away from the windows. You come here often, I said, not a question. When I need to think. He poured us both water from the metal pitcher. Or when I need to escape. Escape what? He hesitated. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked uncertain. Expectations. The food arrived before I could ask what he meant. We ate in comfortable silence for a while. The bibimbap was incredible, perfectly seasoned, the egg yolk golden and rich.
"How are you finding Seoul?" Jin Wu asked eventually. "Overwhelming, beautiful, lonely." He looked up. "Lonely?" I shrugged. "I don't know anyone here, outside of work, I mean. It's hard to make friends when you're navigating a new language, a new culture. I feel like I'm constantly performing, trying not to mess up." "You're not messing up." "I don't know that." "I do." His gaze was steady. "You're good at what you do, Marcus. Better than half the senior analysts. You're just too worried about proving yourself to see it." The compliment hit me harder than it should have. I looked down at my bowl, suddenly self-conscious. "Why did you invite me to dinner?" I asked quietly. Silence. When I looked up, Jin Wu was watching me with an expression I couldn't read, conflicted, careful. "Because I wanted to," he said finally. "That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you." The weight of those words settled between us, heavy, significant. My heart is racing again. "Jin Wu." He knew what I was going to say. He set down his chopsticks. "I know what this is complicated. I know we work together. I know people will talk. I know there are 1,000 reasons why this is a bad idea." "This," he said, "this." "Then why?" "Because when I saw you that first day, something in me just knew." He leaned forward slightly. "I've spent my entire life doing what was expected of me, following the rules, being careful. And it's exhausting, Marcus. It's so fucking exhausting." I couldn't breathe, couldn't look away. "I'm not asking you for anything," he continued. "I'm not expecting anything. I needed you to know, that's all." The silence that followed was deafening. Outside, the city buzzed with life. Inside, it was just us, two men sitting across from each other in a tiny restaurant, the space between them charged with everything they couldn't say. I should have left, should have thanked him for dinner, made an excuse and walked away. Instead, I said, "I knew too." His eyes widened just slightly. "That first day, when you looked at me in the meeting, I knew." "Jin Wu." "I'm terrified," I admitted, "of this, of you, of what happens if anyone finds out." "So am I." "Then what do we do?" He reached across the table, slowly, deliberately. His fingers brushed mine, just barely, just enough. "We're careful," he said. "We're smart, and we see where this goes." I should have pulled my hand away. I didn't.
We became experts at pretending. At work, Jin Wu was polite but distant, professional. He treated me the same way he treated everyone else, with respect, efficiency, and absolutely no indication that anything had changed between us. But after hours, in the safety of darkness and distance, we existed in a different world. Late-night dinners at restaurants where no one from the office would see us, long walks through parks on the outskirts of the city, quiet conversations in his car, parked in empty lots, where we'd talk for hours about everything and nothing. We didn't kiss, not at first. We barely touched, but the tension between us was unbearable, electric, a current that hummed just beneath the surface of every interaction. 3 months in, I went to his apartment for the first time. It was late, nearly midnight. We'd been working on a campaign proposal together, and when the office finally emptied, Jin Wu suggested we finish at his place. Neutral, practical. Except it wasn't neutral. His apartment was minimalist, clean lines, muted colors, expensive furniture arranged with precision. It looked like a magazine spread, impersonal. "Do you actually live here?" I teased, setting my bag down by the door. "Or is this a showroom?" He smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from him all day. "My mother decorated it." Of course she did. He made tea while I pulled up the presentation on my laptop. We worked side by side on his couch, shoulders almost touching, the proximity both comforting and maddening. Around 1 a.m., Jin Wu closed his laptop and leaned back, rubbing his eyes. "We should call it," he said. "You're exhausted. So are you. I'm used to it. I turned to face him. You don't have to do that, you know. Do what? Pretend you're fine all the time, like nothing affects you. His jaw tightened. For a moment, I thought he'd deflect, change the subject, rebuild the wall he kept between himself and the world. Instead, he said, "It's easier that way." Easier for who? Everyone. I held his gaze. I'm not everyone. Something shifted in his expression, cracked. The careful control he wore like a mask slipped just for a second, and I saw the exhaustion beneath it, the loneliness, the weight of carrying expectations that were never his to begin with. Marcus? You don't have to pretend with me, I said softly. Not here, not with this. He stared at me for a long moment. Then without a word, he reached out and cupped my face in his hand. His touch was gentle, tentative, like he was afraid I'd disappear. I don't know how to do this, he whispered. Neither do I. He stopped, swallowed hard. I've never felt like this before, about anyone. My heart is breaking and soaring at the same time. Jin Wu? He kissed me, soft at first, hesitant, like he was asking permission with every movement of his lips against mine. Then I kissed him back, and hesitant became desperate. His hands tangled in my hair, mine gripped his shirt. The careful distance we'd maintained for months shattered in an instant, and suddenly we were pulling each other closer, trying to make up for all the stolen glances and almosts and what-ifs. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Stay, he whispered against my lips. Please. I should have said no. I stayed. We didn't sleep that night. We lay in his bed, tangled together, talking in hushed voices about everything we'd been too afraid to say. His childhood, my family, the weight of expectations, the fear of being seen. Jin Wu told me about his parents, traditional, devout, deeply invested in his success. His father was a retired businessman who'd built an empire through ruthless determination. His mother came from old money, the kind of family where reputation was currency. They don't know, he said quietly, about me, about any of this. Have you ever told anyone? No. He traced patterns on my arm with his fingertips. I thought I could ignore it, pretend it wasn't real, date women, get married, live the life they wanted for me. What changed? He looked at me. You. The word hung in the air between us, heavy with meaning. I'm scared, he admitted, of what happens when they find out. And they will find out, Marcus, eventually. My mother has a way of knowing things. What will she do? His silence was answer enough. We'll figure it out, I said, though I had no idea how. He pulled me closer, his face buried in my neck. I don't want to lose you. You won't. It was a promise I had no right to make, but in that moment, with his body warm against mine and the city quiet outside his window, I believed it. For a while, we existed in a fragile bubble of happiness. At work, we were professionals, colleagues, nothing more. But outside, we built a life together in secret. Weekend trips to coastal towns where no one knew us, late-night cooking sessions in his apartment, quiet mornings where we'd wake up tangled together, the early light filtering through his blinds. I fell in love with him, slowly, then all at once. I loved the way he'd absently reach for my hand when we walked through empty streets, the way he'd text me Korean phrases with translations, teaching me his language one word at a time, the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't paying attention, like I was something precious, something worth protecting. But the fear never left. Every time his phone rang, I watched his expression shift. Every time we passed someone from the office on the street, we'd step apart. The distance between us painful and necessary. 6 months into our relationship, the bubble started to crack. It started with a company dinner. Mandatory attendance, the entire marketing department crammed into a high-end Korean barbecue restaurant, alcohol flowing freely, inhibitions lowering with every round of soju. Jin Wu sat 3 seats from me, professional distance, safe. But our team leader, a gregarious man in his 50s, kept pushing drinks into our hands and insisting we mingle, network, bond. Jin Wu, he called out, already drunk. You're always so serious. Loosen up. Find a nice girl. Settle down. Your mother must be worried. Jin Wu's smile didn't waver.
I'm focused on my career, Director Kim.
Career, the director waved dismissively. What about love, life? You're 30 years old. Time to think about marriage. My chest tightened. I stared at my plate, willing myself to stay calm. I'll consider it, Jin Wu said smoothly, when the time is right. What about you, Marcus? Director Kim turned his attention to me. You have a girlfriend back in America? No, sir. Ah, playing the field. Smart man. He laughed, loud and obnoxious. Korean girls, American girls, you have options here. I forced a laugh, took another drink. Across the table, Jin Wu's expression was carefully blank, but I saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his hand gripped his glass just a little too tight. The dinner lasted another 2 hours. By the time we left, I felt sick. Jin Wu texted me 20 minutes later. My place? I went. He opened the door before I could knock, pulled me inside, and kissed me hard, desperate, like he was trying to erase the last few hours. I'm sorry, he breathed against my lips. For what? For not being able to defend you, defend us. Jin Wu. I sat there and smiled while he talked about finding a nice girl and getting married, and I couldn't say anything. Couldn't tell him the truth, that I'm already in love with someone, that I don't want anyone else, that I... His voice broke. I pulled him close, felt his body tremble against mine. I know. I hate this, he whispered. I hate hiding. I hate pretending. I hate that I can't just... He didn't finish, didn't need to. We stood there in his entryway, holding each other, the weight of everything we couldn't say pressing down on us. The cracks widened. A month later, Jin Wu's mother called him during dinner at my apartment. He answered, as he always did, his entire demeanor shifting, shoulders back, voice formal, the careful, respectful son. I didn't understand Korean well enough to follow the conversation, but I heard the tension in his voice, the clipped responses, the long pauses. When he hung up, his face was pale. What's wrong? I asked. She wants me to meet someone. My stomach dropped. Someone? A woman, daughter of a business associate. She's arranged a meeting next week. And you said, yes. The words hit me like a physical blow. You said yes? What was I supposed to say, Marcus? His voice rose, frustration bleeding through. That I'm not interested? That I'm seeing someone? That I'm... He stopped, ran his hair through his head. That you're what? I pressed. Gay? With a man? With me? Don't. Don't what? Don't ask you to be honest? Don't expect you to stand up for us? You don't understand. Then help me understand. I was standing now, anger replacing the hurt. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're going to meet this woman, have dinner with her, let your mother think there's a possibility of marriage, all while I'm sitting here wondering where the hell I fit into your life. You're everything to me, he said quietly. Then prove it. Silence. Jin Wu stared at me, his expression torn. I need time. How much time? I don't know. I grabbed my jacket. Call me when you figure it out. I left before he could respond. We didn't speak for 3 days. 3 days of silence that felt like 3 years. I threw myself into work, stayed late at the office, avoided the break room and anywhere else I might run into him. On the 4th day, he showed up at my apartment at midnight. He looked wrecked. Hair disheveled, eyes red-rimmed, still wearing his work clothes like he'd come straight from the office. I didn't go. What? The meeting with the woman. I canceled. I stared at him. Jin Wu. I told my mother I wasn't interested, that I wouldn't be meeting anyone she set me up with, that I was seeing someone. My heart stopped. You told her about me? Not yet, but I will. He stepped inside, closed the door behind him. I've been so afraid of losing them, of disappointing them, that I forgot I was also losing you. And I can't. I won't. What did she say? She's furious, confused.
She wants to meet whoever I'm seeing. She wants answers. Are you going to tell her? He took my hands in his. I'm going to tell her the truth, that I'm in love with a man, that I'm in love with you, and if she can't accept that, then... His voice cracked. Then I'll deal with it, he finished, but I'm not hiding anymore. Not from her, not from anyone. I pulled him into my arms, felt his body collapse against me. We'll deal with it, together. Together, he repeated. Promise? Promise. Telling his parents was the hardest thing either of us had ever done. Jin Wu asked me to come with him, moral support, a united front. His childhood home was exactly what I expected, large, immaculate, filled with expensive furniture and family photos arranged with precision. His mother answered the door, her expression polite but cold. She was elegant in the way only old money could be. Perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Jin Wu, she kissed his cheek. Then her gaze shifted to me. And you must be... Marcus. Jin Wu's hand found mine. My boyfriend. The silence that followed was deafening. His mother's smile froze. Excuse me? Marcus is my boyfriend, Mother. We've been together for almost a year. Her eyes dropped to our joined hands. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she turned on her heel and walked into the house, leaving the door open behind her. We followed.
Sit, his mother said. We sat. Is this some kind of joke? She asked finally. No, Mother. Then explain to me how my son, my successful, intelligent son, has been lying to me for a year. I wasn't lying. You were hiding. Her voice was sharp, which is the same thing. Jin Wu's hand tightened around mine. I was afraid of this, of your reaction. With good reason, his father said quietly. This is unacceptable. Father, do you have any idea what this will do to our family's reputation? His mother's voice rose. What people will say? Our friends, our business associates, the church community. I don't care what they say. Well, you should. She stood abruptly. This is a phase, Jin Wu, a confusion. You're not... She couldn't even say the word. You're not like this. I am, Mother. I've always been like this. Then you've been lying to us your entire life. No, I've been lying to myself. His mother turned to me, her gaze cold. And you did this to him. Mother, that's not... How long have you been manipulating my son, poisoning his mind with these ideas? He didn't manipulate me, Jin Wu said firmly. I pursued him. I fell in love with him. This isn't something that happened to me. It's who I am. You're confused, his father interjected. You've been working too hard. Stress can make people... I'm not confused, Jin Wu stood, pulling me up with him. I'm in love, and I'm sorry that disappoints you. I'm sorry this isn't the life you wanted for me, but it's my life, my choice. His mother's face crumpled. If you walk out that door with him, you are no longer my son. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Jin Wu's hand trembled in mine. I could feel him wavering, the weight of 30 years of obligation and love pulling him back. Jin Wu, I whispered, you don't have to. Yes, I do. He looked at his mother, his eyes shining. I love you, both of you, but I love him too, and I'm not giving him up, not for you, not for anyone. He turned and walked toward the door. I followed. Behind us, his mother's voice cracked. Jin Wu, please. He didn't look back. We sat in his car for a long time after we left. Jin Wu stared straight ahead, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Don't. Jin Wu, don't apologize for existing, Marcus. Don't apologize for loving me. Don't apologize for any of it. You just lost your family. No,
I chose mine. He finally looked at me, and the devastation in his eyes nearly broke me. "Come here," I said softly. He collapsed into my arms, and we held each other in the darkness, while he cried for the life he'd lost and the life we were building together. The weeks that followed were brutal. Jin Woo's mother called constantly, sometimes pleading, sometimes angry, always asking him to come to his senses. At work, rumors started circulating. Someone had seen us together outside the office. Someone else had noticed the way we looked at each other during meetings. Director Kim called Jin Wu into his office. I waited outside, my stomach in knots, until Jin Wu emerged 40 minutes later. His face was carefully blank. "What happened?" I asked when we were alone. He suggested I take some time off to sort things out. "He can't fire you for—" "He's not firing me, not officially, but he made it very clear that my lifestyle choices are creating an uncomfortable environment for the team." Rage burned through me. "That's discrimination." "And difficult to prove." Jin Woo's voice was tired. I told him I'd think about it. "You're not actually considering—" "I'm considering what's best for both of us. Hiding isn't what's best. Neither is losing our jobs." His voice rose, then immediately softened. "I'm sorry. I'm not angry at you. I'm just tired." I pulled him close. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. I just know I'm not losing you. Everything else we'll figure out." 2 weeks later, Jin Wu handed in his resignation. He did it quietly, professionally, with a polite letter citing personal reasons and a desire to pursue other opportunities. Director Kim accepted it immediately. I was furious. "You built your career here. You gave them everything." And it was never going to be enough, not once they knew the truth about me. "So what now?" He looked at me, a small smile playing at his lips. "Now we stop hiding." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm done being careful, done pretending, done letting other people's fear control my life." He closed his box, picked it up. "I'm going to start my own consulting firm, and I'm going to be openly, unapologetically myself. Jin Wu, and I want you to come with me." I stared at him. "What?" "Leave the company, be my business partner. We'll build something together, something that's ours." "That's insane." "Probably." His smile widened. "But we're good at insane. We've been doing it for a year." I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. "Okay." "Okay? Let's do it. Let's build something." He set down the box, pulled me into his arms, and kissed me in the middle of the office. Someone gasped. We didn't care.
The first year was terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. We leased a small office space, built a website, reached out to contacts. Slowly, painstakingly, we grew our client base. Some people refused to work with us once they knew we were together, but others, more than I expected, didn't care. They cared about results, about quality work, about integrity. Jin Woo's parents didn't speak to him for 8 months. Then, on his birthday, his mother called. He answered on the 3rd ring, his hand trembling slightly. I listened to one side of the conversation, tentative, careful, both of them circling around the hurt that still existed between them. When he hung up, he looked shell-shocked. "She wants to meet you," he said. "Properly. Have dinner. Talk." "Jin Wu, I told her I'd ask you, that it was your choice." I thought about it, about the woman who'd called me a manipulator, who told her son he was no longer welcome in her home. And I thought about Jin Wu, about the hope in his eyes. "Okay," I said, "let's have dinner." The second dinner with his parents was nothing like the first. His mother was stiff but polite, his father largely silent, but they asked questions about me, about our business, about our life together. At the end of the night, as we were leaving, his mother touched Jin Woo's arm. "I'm trying," she said quietly. "I don't understand this. I may never understand it, but you're my son, and I'm trying." Jin Woo's eyes filled with tears. "That's all I'm asking." She nodded, then, awkwardly, she hugged him. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start.
2 years after that first meeting in the conference room, Jin Wu and I stood in front of our office building, larger now with a full staff and an impressive client roster, and looked up at the sign bearing our company name. "We did it," I said. "We did." His hand found mine. Together. I looked at him, at the man who'd risked everything for us, who'd walked away from family, career, comfort, and security because he refused to keep hiding. "I love you," I said. "I love you too." He kissed me there, in broad daylight on a busy Seoul street corner. A few people stared. We didn't care. Because this, us, was worth fighting for, worth risking everything for, worth building a whole new life for. And we'd do it again, every single time. The end.